Hi, everybody. Well, thanks for listening to this recording. I'm Ursula from Profound Growth, and I'm here with my dear friend and colleague, Alyssa Kreutzfeldt. And I want to introduce Alyssa, and I've written it down because there's so much to be said about you, and I wanted to really capture, sort of the essence of you. So here it goes. Alyssa is the founder of Bar 33. And what I didn't know is that it's named after your family's cattle ranch. Had been wondering about the name, and you might have mentioned this to me, but I thought,
Yeah.
well, that is just, I don't know anybody else who owns a cattle ranch, so or has grown up on one, which is quite wonderful. So you're the founder of Bar 33, a leadership and coaching company, and you are the author of You Defined. And we're going to come back to your book in a minute. Alyssa held a variety of key leadership roles in both corporate America and nonprofit organizations. And in 2015, she launched Bar 33. She guides people to boldly define their inner game and empower them to be that. She's been recognized as a top leader by Minnesota St. Paul Business Journal and the National Association of Women Business Owners. And Alyssa and I really share this passion around true, authentic leadership and, really taking on the game of life from the inside out. And Profound Growth does that in a way through coaching and through trainings in regards to prosperity and abundance, which, of course, as we all know, is not just about money, but it's part of it. But it's really about seeing life from this bigger and more empowering perspective. And so we both have a passion for this inside out approach to life and to growth. So welcome, Alyssa. I'm really so excited to have you here. So first question to you then is, so in your work with leaders, how is, this prosperity mindset that you and I have been talking about that, I coach and train around, how do you see this expressed in leaders or in people in general?
Well, a couple of things. Well, first of all, Ursula, thanks for having me and spending some time with me in this fashion. A couple of things that I see in this area with leaders is one, like it's by like the leadership of like how I approach the conversation with leaders. I spend time just really understanding the posture of my understanding of abundance and my understanding of what prosperity looks like for me, so that when I lean into the leaders that I work with, I'm able to really kind of put a 10 on their foreheads and try to understand like, what is their picture of prosperity and how do I spend time actively trying to understand that for what it means to them. And what does that picture look like? And kind of getting the focus off of myself and being able to be highly consumed with their growth, their picture of why that's important to them, their picture of just continuing to unpack what success looks like, and kind of like, again, that definition of growth for them, which I think is linked to prosperity. What does giving look like to them that's linked to prosperity? And what does gaining look like for them that's linked to prosperity that's meaningful to who they are? What type of impact do they want to create? And if I put a 10 on their forehead and believe that they have it inside of them, you can find it and help them navigate through that. And then from there, their leadership goes to a different level. Allows them to then transfer what they've uncovered to those around them, which creates a ripple effect of positivity. It creates a ripple effect of authenticity. I have to have it inside of me in order to transfer it to them. And then allowing them to see it, feel it, believe it, and lean into it, and then be able to take that picture and transfer it out to their teams and others that they might influence in a impactful way, personally and or professionally.
Yeah, no, I really love that. And especially, linking this definition of prosperity and success, because it really looks so different for each of us.
Mhm.
What we call success, what we call prosperity, really is a very personal definition. that really finds its grounding in what we value and the experience of life that we want. And this is sort
Yeah.
of the interesting thing that I find in my work. At the beginning of this journey, many people think it should be like something. It should
Yeah.
be like that.
Yeah.
Should be it should have a, dollar number attached. It should have a title
Yeah.
attached. It should have a corner office, or a, it should look like something. And
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes hard for them to sort of really go in here into the heart and go, well, what is really authentically true for me, that I
Yeah.
value, that I would then call this is my definition of being successful.
Yeah.
So you know so how do people define success, you think?
Well, my experience in that area is that just really like helping them peel back. I mean, oftentimes one question that I hear when you start asking kind of searching questions and questions that help them define the picture for themselves is, I'm not sure, what do you think? Like they kind of hesitate. They know what it is. They
Yes,
see that picture, they feel that picture, but it might be a little bit different than what the world tells us it should be. It might be a little bit different than maybe what the role models in their lives have brought to them. And so it's really like helping them find confidence in being able to define the picture for themselves and not care what my opinion is of it or what others' opinions are. And usually that's why I think about, like, if my posture is having a growth mindset and positive belief that they are resourceful and have the answers inside of them, and lean into them with the 10 on their head that I believe in them already, then we can keep unpeeling and unpacking so that they believe that I care enough that I'm going to compassionately challenge them to get to the real answer, to get to the
yes,
answer. And then when they do, it's usually this very freeing feeling. It's like, oh, I don't know if I've ever said that out loud before.
yes,
All of
yes,
a sudden, they start living it. They start having this picture. And I think of it sometimes as like kind of starting to shed off things
yes,
other people or our society or whatever it might be have put on them when it comes to, here's what prosperity looks like, here's what success looks like, here's what advancement looks like. And for them, they just kind of start shedding, keeping the things that are still true to and original to who they are, but shedding off the things that are like, nope, that's yours, I'm not no longer going to
yeah,
hold it. That's yours, I'm no longer going to hold it, I'm going to keep these and add some of these other pieces to it that are true and original
yeah,
to picture that I just unpacked when it comes to growth and gaining and giving. And just like when you think of prosperity, it's kind of in some of those buckets of like what does that mean to you and look like to you, and why does it even matter to you, is
yes,
helping
yeah.
them understand, okay, here's the picture, but why does that matter to you?
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. As in my work, I bring in a lot of neuroscience to help people
Yeah.
understand, why they think the way they think, why they are getting into certain habits, or how was all this created. And what you are talking about reminds
Yeah.
me of the science of neuroplasticity, which
Yeah.
is really basically all the habits and through thought and repetitive action and repetitive thinking have been wired into our brain, that then create a neural
Mm-hmm.
pathway, which is just a translation for a habit. So I
Yeah.
think that what you're speaking about is really helping them see what are those, so what I call super highways of
Yeah.
habits that
Yeah.
are just ingrained, and how much courage it takes to sort of reroute the brain onto the metaphorical dirt road.
Yes.
and and go through all the potholes and the boulders and the obstacles to kind of keep defining and redefining this new habit, this new thought, this new belief, this new outlook,
Yeah.
that starts off as a dirt road with potholes, and
Yeah.
then the more we do it, the smoother the ride. And that is just how we're wired, and why some of this change from, oh, I've always done it this way, but now let's define what it means for you, why that can be so difficult.
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
need to break away a little bit from what we have known and trust that what we want to have as the dirt road is actually the beginning of a super highway that we want to build.
Yeah, I love that image. And I know one thing that you've taught me throughout the years is to help yourself understand. And if you understand it yourself, you can transfer it out to other people. But to understand, like, what's the emotional relevancy to
Yes.
why you want what you want, or why that picture matters to you. And I think of that so often because if we don't link it to that, and you've shared that, like, if you don't link it to something that's emotionally relevant to you, not someone else, but to you, it just becomes something you do for a little while, but nothing will sustain. It will not be, it'll be temporary. It won't be something that you're self-disciplined about. And that nugget is always is that visual of like, okay, go to the next layer with them, with yourself and them, and then go to the next layer, because bingo, that's where it is. And that's what links to that picture of intentionality,
Yes.
consistent self-discipline,
Yes.
whether you feel like doing it or not, whether your legs are trembling because you're so scared you have to take another step forward into that picture, but you're like, no, I can do it because this is why I'm doing what I'm
Yes.
doing. Yeah,
Yes.
this is why I'm on the dirt road.
I know this is why I'm traveling around the potholes, right?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, as you know, personal relevance has been sort of a little bit not my pothole, my soapbox, because it's really, I see this in my own life. I really, if it's not really super, I mean, mine has to be super personally relevant.
Yeah.
I have to find that, or it's like, I could, maybe I
Yeah.
should, but there are also the maybes. I could, maybe I should, maybe I
Yeah.
might try. But this power engine
Yeah.
behind really doing something and changing something, that is
Yeah.
the power engine behind all that is
Mhm.
personal relevance. So
Yeah.
we talked about, growth is an inside out process, and we are both passionate about that. It's not happening out there, it's happening in here.
Right.
I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. That's where it starts. So what why do some people sign up for that kind of a journey, going like, yeah, this is inside out and I need to start looking here first?
Mm.
What have you seen that people go, oh yeah, I want to go on this journey? And I know there's people who go like, not yet. I'm not ready for
Yeah.
it yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's absolutely two camps. Like one that's like, yep, nope, not willing to go there, or don't even understand why I would want to or need to. And then the second is, well, it's the one kind of in the between that's like, kind of interests me. I'm somewhat curious about it, but I'm not sure if I want to take the step. And then the third one, which are the people that we probably typically work with, are people that want to be highly intentional about the life that they're building, the influence that they're leaning into each and every day, whether it be in their personal lives or their professional lives, and to find something that empowers them to intentionally own it. And that piece of it is, I've found that oftentimes they see somebody in their life, whether it be in a professional setting that they've been able to experience, that are highly intentional people that have learned how to operate from the inside out, so that when life comes at them, they're pretty solid. They know, like, all right, this is who I'm going to be. This is what I will and won't do. And
Yes.
it's internal anchors that are grounding their character, that are grounding how they will and won't show up. And they are kind of inspired by that. They want to be that type of growth mindset. They want to be around people that continue to take on that type of attitude of,
Mhm.
I know the answer why this is happening, but I believe there is an answer, that they constantly lean into that positive belief. They lean into the influences within their control, like how we can't control the things that come at us, but we can control how we show up in those situations. And also, like, when they have that in their life and they've been able to kind of experience that either through somebody and say, I want a little bit more of that, or they start leaning into it themselves, they realize that the power of reflection, to be able to take a moment and reflect rather than react to everything that's coming at us, is they just, again, like, their influence is within their control. They're able to be the person that they want to be, whether life is coming at them in a positive way, in an ordinary way, or in a way that's kind of starting to derail themselves or their teams or whatever it might be. they just they're more solid. Their footing is not on sand,
Yeah.
it's more on concrete. And they've been able to spend inside that, define that inner game of who they are. What do these pictures look like? These pillars look like, and what do they look like to me? And why are these important to me? So that I can stay consistent with my attitude, with the way that I lean in to life. Again, regardless if it's going my way or not going my way.
Yeah. No, I really love that. And it's really what I'm hearing you say is that there is this one camp that really gets inspired by these grounded, values driven people that
Mhm.
really I think these people show us all somewhat of a roadmap of saying here's how you can navigate life, that life, what, as you said, whatever comes at you, you are going to be grounded on this road. And whatever hurricane is going to hit you, you're going to be very solid. And I think people are inspired by that. And I often in my coaching here, I saw this and I want that, whatever this is, I want that. So that's the one camp. And I also find there's another camp, at least in my world, and
Mhm.
that's the camp of crisis. That
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
life crisis happens, and there is this. It's almost like a what I would call what I would call a spiritual two by four. It's like
Yeah.
life sort of like goes bang, and you go like, oh my gosh, how did this happen, and why did this happen, and now what do I do, and how will I be that, and what do I do with this? And I'm so stressed, and I'm so you know thrown to one side. And so that I find is the other camp that finds themselves in some kind of a unstable footing, the
Yeah.
crisis, what, and it doesn't have to be even life threatening. It's just something
Yeah.
happens in life where they go, oh, I don't want that. I do not, I want to manage this somehow, and I just don't know how to best do that.
Yeah.
Um, and so, that's sort of the other side of that, of the same coin, is when we're really challenged. And I have to say, I really admire those people as well as the other camp,
Mhm.
because to know that you're in some kind of on some unstable ground and looking for support
Mhm.
through leadership development and through coaching, which is so expensive. It's like
Yes.
it's growing, not
Yeah.
fixing. So
Yeah.
this is the one thing that I want to say up front. As coaches, we don't fix anything. We
Yeah.
help people find their own solutions, and that kind of empowerment, when people are looking for that, I really admire that, because they realize there's something that I don't want to do on my own anymore, and
Yeah.
I want to get that support.
Mhm.
So those are the two camps, you know th- how I see it. There's that camp that is inspirational, and then there's the camp that
Yeah.
really needs support. Is that sort of true for you as well, when it comes to what you do, um
Mhm.
and leaders, where sometimes leaders go like, oh my gosh, I mean, this is just not working, what do I do now?
Yeah. I would say that yes, I see it in both of those camps. And I also see that when they're willing to, and I would use the word willing because not everyone is willing to lean into that growth, because sometimes I think it makes you a little squirmy inside.
Yes.
And I always say the squirminess brings clarity, and the clarity leads you to who you really are and who you want to be in whatever setting you're involved with. But it also like allows us to no longer role play and no longer try to mimic people around us, because you
Yes.
get to capture your own footing and decide like here's to decide. And because like if I decide to decide who I'm going to be, I'm not trying to be like you, I'm not trying to be like someone else, I'm trying to be maybe who I am, but I've probably learned some cool nuggets along the way and also some less than cool nuggets along the way. So it's like, don't be that, try to be a little bit more of this, whatever it might be. So you put it into your toolbox and then decide, here's who I'm going to be. And I'm no longer going to role play other people and just kind of react, because I've chosen to get squirmy. I've chosen to
Yes.
set myself a little bit from the inside so that I can decide like here's what this picture looks like to me. Here's how this defines, and here's why I want my influence to be this way, and why that really matters, and why that really matters to my picture of life and success and prosperity and everything.
Well, I love that role play thing really, really very, very much, because it sort of goes back to two things. It goes back to your book, You
Yeah.
Defined. This is not about you in a role. It's you defined. It's whatever role we think we should have or we slip into, through life circumstance, is saying, let's shed that, and let's really look at the real, true, authentic you. uh,
Hmm.
I, my sort of subtitle for my work is Abundance Made Real. And it's
Yeah.
really, it's like, in order to make that real, you have to be real first. Because
Yeah.
if you're playing a role, then everything you are wanting to create is going to be in the image of that role, not in what you are truly wanting. And I think there is a great temptation, I think particularly maybe in Western culture, to look towards certain so-called role models that
Hmm.
model something that is not necessarily what we want in here.
Yeah.
I read a really great article, and I unfortunately cannot remember who the writer was. It's actually um, a scientist done some research on happiness, and there's
Hmm.
lots of happiness studies out, but this
Right.
particular one was really, really sort of hitting home to me, because part of the article was, is bigger better? And I think that is sort of where this role thing comes in, of saying,
Yeah.
well, sometimes in our Western culture, it's like, oh, I mean, I hear this all the time, and even your company probably as well,
Yeah.
oh, when you do this and you should do that, and then you'll be growing, and then you'll be bigger. And
Yeah.
I always sort of go, oh, why would I want that? Why would
Right.
I want to be bigger? I'm very happy in what I'm doing right now. I
Yeah.
have the impact I'm wanting. I enjoy the way I've sort of created and co-created life. Yeah, there's some adventures I want to have, but they're not about bigger. It's
Yeah.
the role that people think we are playing that should have us be, aiming for bigger. And for some people, that is totally the truth of
Yeah.
what they're wanting. They're wanting a bigger voice, more impact. And
Hmm.
that's absolutely true. But it's not true for me. So that is that, make it real. And so I
Yeah.
really love what you're saying. Don't play a role. Look at what makes you happy. What's in your heart
Yeah.
propels you in a direction that is really true for you,
Yeah.
versus the role you think you've been either forced into or you think you should have.
Yeah. When I like your phrase too about co-creating life, knowing
Yeah.
that you do, you don't have a say of everything that comes into your life, but you do have a say of how you control it. We do have a lot of choices connected, and oftentimes, we find a lot of people learning to just accept their lives rather than truly lead their lives, because intentionality is hard because it's connected to the word do. It's connected to commitment. It's connected to, there's not anything wish-washy about intentionality, but it's about like, I'm going to lean into my life, and I get one life to live, and I'm going to make the most of it and have fun with it and be courageous with it and let it be something that I want to be a part of. But that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of, because sometimes life in general, whether it be your professional lane or your personal life, can just start like coming at you in a way that you didn't expect. And that piece of, like you said, co-creating is just, I love that, because it's, if you can visualize that, you can like keep thinking, this is my life to make choices to shift to the left if I need to, or shift to the right if I need to, or stay right on track, whatever it might be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. I had this conversation this morning with a client about, the sort of the beliefs we have around what certain things should be. The world often says we should be in a partnership, be it a marriage or a partnership of some sort. We should be I don't know, we should be parents, or we should
Yeah.
be owning a house, or we should be running a company, or we should
Yeah.
be, I don't know, there's a, I mean, when you get to
Mhm.
my age, all of a sudden it's you should be retired. And
Yeah.
no, I shouldn't be. No, that's not my thing. So no, maybe I should be, but not for me. So there's a lot of that going on, and I think over time, all these shoulds can really erode our
Yeah.
trust in ourselves
Yeah.
and what we know to be true, for ourselves. So this
Mhm.
conversation this morning was very much about the erosion of it should be this. And then, I think when we then look at life and it's not exactly what the role said it should be or what culture says it should be, and it's
Yeah.
not that, we then start resisting
Mhm.
what is really showing up in
Right.
life, whether it's the opposite or whatever it is. We start sort of wanting to not be there, we wanted to push it away, and that is extremely exhausting.
Yeah.
So this whole
Absolutely.
co-creation, back to what you are saying, co-creation is also an energy thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's sort of surrendering to what's happening right in front of you. There
Yeah.
were a lot of people during COVID, that were really resisting, you know, staying at home, and then there was a resisting to masks, and now there's resisting to, vaccines, and I mean,
Yeah.
and that is all an enormous energy drain that when
Yeah.
you don't resist, but you flow where the energy goes, it
Yeah.
is you just have more energy and you have more to give. So that co-creation is totally that's totally an important thing as it relates to how you manage your own energy as well.
Right.
So my last question then is, what has been powerful in your own journey?
Oh, I would say, like being able to when I've hit moments in my journey that kind of knocked me to my knees or kind of knocked the wind out of me, allowed me to lean into what really grounded me and helped me really understand like what do I really value and what are my guiding principles and beliefs and what is my picture of happiness and success. So that's what led me to even write You Defined, because it's one thing to be, I've always been a very positive person and love to bring that enlarge people from the inside out. But it's one thing to be that when life is life and it's going well. And then when you're kind of getting shook up in a different way, like how do you keep solid with that piece of it and still be true to what is true to you when
Yeah.
life is ordinary, when things are just, you have a smile on your face and it's pretty easy to have a smile on your face. Um, so I would say that journey allowed me to dig within and really like dig within and find like the kind of the coolness behind it. And then once I was able to just continue to be like, yeah, this is me and this is like what I'm learning and growing from it. And John Maxwell always says like embrace layered learning. Take one life lesson, layered it on another life lesson, and then the other life lesson, and the other life lesson. He's like, because that's what creates authenticity. That's what creates depth. And what I found with my own journey and being able to live at a very authentic spot that's true and original to me, I am able to lean into the people around me in a totally, not a totally different way, because I think I've always been an others person, but in a way that my motives are pure. Like I check my motives. I'm like, what's the motive behind why I'm doing this? Or is there any pride connected to it? Or is it out of like a humble heart? So I'm very much into like guiding people to deeper spots within themselves and seeing their eyes differently and allowing them not to just give themselves vanilla or bland answers, but to keep going so that they find like the, okay, that's it, or that I hear that, and I'm like, did you hear yourself say that? And then they're like, no, but oh my gosh, that's it,
Yeah.
So that's the piece that my journey has allowed me to take the highs and the lows and just keep like allowing it to be something that I can then transfer to other people in a powerful way, in a very passionate way. It's just to be able to enlarge them from the inside out and create that layered learning mindset. And to also create the mindset of like, what are those essential things that I want to keep growing in? What are
Yeah.
the things that are highly important to me? Because we can't grow in every area of life, but what are the things that I can keep growing in that matter to that vision, that dream, those picture of my values, the happiness that I want to bring into life, the difference that I want to make in this world as well. And just keep unpacking that together and then transferring that out to the people around me that I've been entrusted to lead and been entrusted to like help them find and define that for their own personal lives.
Yeah, oh, that's beautiful. That really is, it really is beautiful. And it really, really reminds me that I really love the layered learning, because what it reminds me also is that as we unpack the layer in one area of our
Yeah,
life, the other areas of our lives are automatically also going to be impacted by that
yeah,
learning, because it's a cohesive whole. If
yeah,
we work on becoming a better parent, we will become a better leader. If we work on becoming a better leader, we will become a better parent. And,
yeah. Good point.
it's interconnected. And so I love that layered learning, because it will have an impact on our life in general. So
Yeah.
let's tell people where they can buy the book You Defined.
Well, it's on Amazon. So you could go on Amazon, or you can go to my website as well, which is bar 33, which is bar33leadership.com.
Great. And there's more information on the kind of training and coaching
Yes.
that offers. And so we want to all encourage you to go and visit her website. And since you are now on the Profound Growth website, check out the other recordings from all the other wonderful thought leaders that we have, and see what other wisdom from a variety of people that's on there, that's being offered. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, let's talk again soon.
We will. Thank you too. I very much appreciate it.
Good. Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay.